You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Shoe In Show, the Footwear Industries podcast, bringing to you the top leaders in our industry, talking about the top issues. And right now on the minds of everyone is, how do we reopen our economy? What is it going to take to get all our workers back to the stores safe and sound? How are we rearranging our stores to make sure that the consumers feel safe and sound to enter? How is e-commerce shifting and changing? And, you know, the joke has always been for a long time now that we tape this in Matt's mom's basement. And now we're all in our collective basements, and you're listening from your basement as well. So welcome to the Shoe In Show. Matt, there's a lot going on right now. And I know we have one of our industry leaders who has stores starting to open up now, may have some great insights about what's happening in the marketplace. Hopefully some optimistic, good stories to tell us right now. Who we got on the show today?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. We're just going to cut to the chase and set aside our normal, amazing, and funny banter and bring Cliff Sifford, the fearless leader of Shoe Carnival, back because he is on the line. He's been on the program 2 other times before. Those 2 programs are 2 of our most downloaded programs of all time because Cliff is just a gentleman, a scholar, and just an all-around good dude. And so, Cliff, welcome back to the Shoe In Show in these crazy times. We're so excited that you've joined us this morning.
Thank you, Matt. And that will mark the very first time in my entire life I've ever been called a scholar. So I appreciate that. I'm going to write this down on my calendar and look upon it many years from now with pleasure.
Just so you know, Cliff, I'm also a shoe scholar, so I'm right there with you. So it may not be as good as you think it means. So just to throw that out there.
It's a loose term. But here we are, May 6th, Cliff. You have just reopened Shoe Carnival. On Friday, you opened over 100 stores. You opened an additional set of stores yesterday on Monday. On Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, tell us how you're thinking about the current state of the footwear retail marketplace and more specifically Shoe Carnival.
Opened 122 stores on Friday and an additional 62 stores on Monday. Today we actually have 196 stores operating out of our 390 total, and by Friday I hope to have 220 stores up and operating. Customers are actually very excited to come back in. We didn't do any marketing to let the customers know. All we did was open our doors, and literally open our doors, because we don't want customers touching the doors. We are keeping them open, and I can hardly wait to see my air conditioning bill. But once the customers drove by, saw we were open, they came in really well.
So that's exciting news, Cliff, because I think we're all dying for some good news. And the fact that you're just selling some shoes in brick and mortar retail right now is just really, it's like a lifeline to all of us in the industry. When that Footwear News article came out indicating what your plans were for reopening, I got just really excited because I'm just trying to hold on to those things that are out there in the marketplace, and to hear that customers are wanting to come back and showing up without any extra marketing push is really important. Talk to us about what you're doing in store to ensure that your customers feel safe, that they're excited to be back in, and that your employees are safe as well.
Yep. So glad to do that. We, as you know, we didn't furlough a single person. When we closed our stores in March, we made the decision to keep our employees on, and for a couple of reasons. One, as you know, Shoe Carnival is a little different animal, and we put a lot of training into our associates where they can run the mic and run special and do all the things that make Shoe Carnival Shoe Carnival. So we made the decision not to furlough anyone. So we had to give them something to do. So we cleaned all our stores. I mean, top to bottom, the stores looked tremendous. And We ran all the stock to make sure that the seasonal product was there right when the customer came into the door. But we also then implemented safety protocols and put in hand sanitizer and all the cleaning supplies the store would need. So not just hand sanitizer for our customers, but for our associates, but for our customers too. So we have sanitation stations set up throughout the store so customers can get a little hand sanitizer and keep themselves virus free if there happens to be one. We are taking temperature of every associate as they walk in the door in the morning. And if they have a temperature over 100 degrees, then they're turned around right at the door and sent home. So we believe we have very good safety protocols set up. The only places where we're open are where the governors have allowed us to open. And in each and every case, the governor has set up protocols, and we surpass all the protocols that any governor has set up. So I'm really happy with the way our operations team have put together the protocols for our stores. Our customers are safe. I was in our store here in Evansville yesterday for about an hour watching customers shop and talking to our associates, and they're so excited to be back at work and selling shoes again. And trust me, I'm just as excited to have them back in the store along with our customers.
That's great, Cliff. I think we're all, we look at you as one of our, our not just our friends and our footwear family, but our leader in the industry, for someone who, did all the right business moves to make sure that you had liquidity and that your associates were taken care of. And I think that will be reflected back in terms of loyalty to the company and also productivity, right? You got people who are passionate about working for a company that's taking care of them, and that'll reflect in sales now and down the road. And you mentioned a lot of stuff that you guys are doing with sanitizers. I'm sure masks are involved. I'm sure you're putting up plexiglass where you need to and putting down tape to guide people down the stores. What's happening in terms of the strategic thinking about the store going forward? Obviously, you guys have shared in the past about how you've kind of transformed your stores into kind of mini warehouse hubs where if a person types in an order online, it attaches their zip code and the closest store will then ship product to them. So you've set this up. Many other people had to do this on the fly during this time of shutdown to try to do something similar. I saw DSW doing some of that in other stores. But in terms of store layout, are we looking at the same brick and mortar going forward in the next several years? Or are you guys thinking a little bit strategically about what that storefront may look like or may have to change in order to meet what the consumer wants or the consumer has concerns about entering stores?
Wow, there's a whole lot in that question.
Yeah,
so let me start from the beginning. Yes, we do have shields up at every checkout area, the sneeze shields to keep our cashiers safe. Yes, we do have tape on the floor to mark all 6-foot intervals. And the great part about Shoe Carnival is the fact that we have microphones in every store because we run those specials. And the only special we're allowing our mic people to run is the social distancing special, making sure that everybody stands 6 feet apart, making sure that there's not more than 1 or 2 people down a single aisle shopping for shoes. We continuously, in fact, they ran it several times while I was in the store yesterday, continuously remind the customer about social distancing. So we believe that the protocol we have in our stores is because we have a mic and because our stores are large in the first place, so it gives our customers lots and lots of room. We believe our protocols are superior to any that most other companies would have. So that was that part. As far as what we're thinking about going forward for our stores, is it's funny you should ask that question. Even before the pandemic, we had talked about what does the next Shoe Carnival look like, and how do we take Shoe Carnival and modernize it for the new millennial and the new customer coming up today that expects so much more. So we are in the process of doing that, and we expect we've hired a company to help us through that process, and we expect to have something in hand to share with our board, maybe as early as December. So once we settle in on a design, and it won't be a radical change because we don't need a radical change, but it'll be a modernization is a better way to put it. Once we've done that, we've shared it with our board. We're going to test it in a few stores, and if we determine that it pays for itself, then we'll start rolling it out. And that even includes our iconic spin and win. We're looking at different iterations of that for a go forward as well. Very important in retail, as you know, Andy, and Matt, to make sure that you stay relevant. And in this new age, relevancy is so important.
Right. And also just relationships. I mean, when we look at like loyalty programs, some people never set those up, and all of a sudden that loyalty program becomes a lifeline to communicate with people that are at home that can't get out. Right. So you guys have had the Shoe Perks program for a while, and you're collecting that data on them. You're able to communicate and really drive a relationship rather than just selling someone. Right.
Yeah, we've been talking about this on our conference calls for a couple of years. We put in what I believe is one of the industry-leading CRM programs. So we have information on our customer down to the store level, down to what they like, what they buy, whether they have children. So we have tremendous amount of information, which, trust me, we utilized a lot while we had our stores closed, and we were able to accelerate our comm sales even past my expectation for that time period that our stores were closed. So that actually helped us continue to pay our employees and continue to not incur a tremendous amount of debt while doing so.
Right. Another question I have for you, Cliff, is e-commerce for footwear. We, year over year, we see tremendous growth in the channel. But, during this crisis, I've really been thinking a lot about how the channel is not that mature, meaning like the margins are thin. The efficiencies haven't really been optimized. We kind of see it as a good sales channel, but a lot of people haven't put a lot into it. And we're starting to see the effect where Amazon now, like in our neighborhood, is even renting like Penske trucks they don't have enough trucks to do all the deliveries for the sheer volume of deliveries. And I think that was reflected. I saw this past week where Walmart there, where they have the sales associates will go and pick stuff up, put in a bag for you, and you can pick up curbside and they'll drop it off. Are now extending that all the way to the home, where they'll not only package it for you at the Walmart, but they'll drive it to your house if you're within a distance or a radius. So, obviously e-commerce is this churn that's going to keep growing even more tremendously than we thought. But when we're talking about delivery options and optimizing efficiencies and lowering our costs, when you guys are talking about this stuff, is everything on the table at this point for the future of e-commerce for your deliveries? I mean, I know you guys do a great job of doing in-store pickup, and if they do that, they'll get a discount. So you're driving traffic that way. But I mean, are we going to see in the future like 5 options for delivery, like 2-day in-store, deliver to your house, or 5-day? I mean, what is the conversation? I can just imagine that, you're looking at everything possible to figure that out.
And we are, and it's become more difficult during this time period because of the stress put on the supply chain. You can only imagine how much volume is being done online during this pandemic with all the brick and mortar stores closed, and what the stress that's putting on. We use Federal Express, but what that's putting on all the supply chain, all the delivery companies. We're not prepared at this point to start home delivery with Shoe Carnival employees, but we are looking at every option because our hope, in fact, our plan, our strategic plan, is to grow this e-commerce business even further, even faster than we've seen it grow over the past year, 2 years. So we think over the next 3 to 5 years, e-com could be as much as 20% of our total volume. And to do that, we have to have a very stable supply chain and delivery to the customers. Now, we do allow in-store pickup. We ship from store, so we have 390 ship from locations, so that helps us out a good bit. But we did discontinue pickup in store during the times our stores were closed, mainly because we didn't want our people interacting with the customers. We didn't know where the customers had been or whether they were sick or not. So we did this. We took away pickup in store for that time period. We have now re-engaged pickup in store.
Cliff, let's shift real quick to inventory and just let's talk through how you're feeling about inventory, the supply of what are the brands telling you as far as, the availability of supply, particularly as we head into back to school, which is so important for your business, for our entire industry for that matter. And we've been talking a lot about the glut of spring product and where it's going to go and how, it's going to be significantly discounted if and when brick and mortar reopens, or it's going to be dumped somewhere. It's just going to sit in a warehouse. And then on the flip side, will we have enough fall product because of all that's going on with the uncertainty? So how are you thinking about inventory and product mix for your Shoe Carnival stores, and what are your expectations for the rest of the year?
Well, Matt, the day that I don't remember the exact date, but the date that we recognized that stores in New York and in the Northeast were closing, we instructed our buyers to get on the phone and call, not send letters, not just cancel orders, but call every vendor and work out either do one of three things: either cancel orders that have a seasonal expiration of an early seasonal expiration, move orders that could be sold through the summer and into the early fall, and take a strong look at their back to school orders to make sure that we were well positioned for a back to school opening. So I can't tell you how well there's no words to express how great the vendor community was in working with us on this. And we were able to control the flow of inventory into our stores. And I'm going to tell you something you're just not going to believe. Since this doesn't release until I think after we release our earnings, my inventory is basically flat to last year at the same time. So I don't have an inventory glut. And I thank the vendor community and my buyers for that. We worked very, very hard to make that happen. And I don't think that in the process that any of the vendors would tell you that that any relationship with Shoe Carnival was damaged in the process. I'm a very strong believer and having great relationships with our vendor community, and any vendor that talked to us about the fact that this was going to hurt them, we took the product in, and I'm just very excited about where we are. So I think, to answer your question, now that our stores are open and the customers are coming back in, I'm pleased with my inventory level as it stands today. I think that the orders that we're obviously going to take all the orders that we have coming in the future for our back to school. Mm-hmm. And my only concern on back to school at this point is that schools won't go back on time.
Right.
And that could definitely have an effect on our August sales. I have a suspicion that schools will be delayed and not have that traditional August start.
Yeah, that's a concern, I think, for a lot of folks, particularly parents and more specifically. Last question before we pivot to Jasmine. What's selling right now? I mean, are slippers selling? Are people looking to do more stuff outdoors, or is outdoor product selling? What are some of the highlights or high points as far as the types of shoes that are selling?
I'm very excited about our sandal business. That's truly picked up, and not only just regular summer sandals, but soccer sandals have been unbelievable. Probably going to be the biggest year we've ever had in the soccer sandal category. In addition to that, casual. I hate to give brands because my competition listen to this, but everybody knows what's going on with Crocs, and the things that Crocs did with the healthcare community truly resonated with the customer, and I'm excited about what's going on there. But in addition to that, work shoes are selling. I'm pleased, real pleased with the and kids shoes. I almost forgot about that. Our kids shoe business has been phenomenal as well. So cross categories, the athletic is a little stronger in this second quarter than it normally is in the second quarter. Uh-huh. And I think that has to do with the fact that our customers are tired of being holed up and they're out walking their neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. People are outdoors way more than they have been in the past because they have the time to do so. So, Cliff, with that, we want to thank you so much. Before I bring Jasmine in for her world famous "What You Got, What You Getting" segment, I want to just thank you as our vice chairman of FDRA. You've done so much in support of our industry as a whole and of our organization, and to us personally on. I can speak for all of our team here, and I just want to thank you publicly on this format for all that you've done. And my hope is that as an organization, we are making you proud and doing everything we can in support of you and the broader footwear industry during this really critical time. I think we can all agree is a historic time that hopefully we don't see again in our lifetimes. But nevertheless, thank you so much for all that you do on behalf of FDRA.
And let me turn that back to you, Matt, because you and your team have been very active during this time period, and that's the retailers and distributors really needed an active FDRA, and I appreciate it. We appreciate everything you guys are doing.
No problem. It's the Mutual Admiration Society. So with that, Jasmine.
That's right. Hey, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's right. Speaking of someone I really admire, let's bring in Jasmine Pendergrass for her world famous "What You Got, What You Getting," which I believe we've done with Cliff before.
Yeah, this is not new for Cliff, but it may be new for some of the audience members. So for those of you who do not know, we do a segment, "What You Got, What You Getting." So we say what's on our feet currently and what we're planning to buy in the near future. So I'll start real quick by saying that I actually have a real pair of shoes on because I plan on going outside and getting the packages from outside the house. So I usually in slippers, but right now I have a pair of Reeboks on. And what I'm getting is kind of hard because shoes are still being released. You know, Cliff is opening back up stores, so now I don't know what I want next, but some kind of summer shoe because I kind of threw away all my sandals. So I think that's probably next on the list, a pair of like slip-in sandals. What about Cliff? What are you wearing now and are you planning to buy?
So what have I got on now? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I actually shouldn't even say, but I got a pair of Brooks running shoes, the Ghost, and the reason I shouldn't say that is we don't sell them. So it's just so comfortable. But that's what I have on, and to be perfectly honest, that's it. And later on today, when I do get home, if the weather continues to hold up the way it is now, I'll put on my Sperry sandals and go outside and sit by my pool. So
Awesome.
that's what I plan on having on long around 4:00 Central Time.
Okay. So
We are such good interviewers. We pull all the truth out of people, even though they don't want to. They don't want to talk to us. We have such a safe shoe space in here. I can tell you what else Cliff is going to get. He's going to get a new football jersey after Cam Newton leaves. What's that?
If my store personnel listen to this, they're going to say, "Okay, you wear them. Why can't we have them in the store?" So, there you go.
I was saying the other thing you got to get, Cliff, is a new football jersey since Cam Newton's out at Carolina. A lot of changes, man. A lot of changes.
A lot of changes, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited for football season, but I do believe it's going to be a very frustrating year for us Carolina fans.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to go through the pain to get to the top. That's where we're at now. Yep. I've been wearing a lot of. I actually just dusted off my sandals yesterday and realized I needed a new pair. So as the weather got a little bit warmer, it teased us a couple of days ago. It got really nice, and then today, the last couple of days, it's been kind of damp and rainy. But I dusted off my sandals and realized I wore them out last year with my big feet. So I got to buy some new sandals myself. So I'm right there in the same boat with Jasmine.
Nice. Well, I'll wrap it up, and I'm a stone's throw from Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, so I cannot tell a lie. I'm actually barefoot right now. I'm not wearing any shoes.
You are from North Carolina. There you go.
I am from North Carolina, like as is Cliff and Andy. But I have ordered the Allbirds Tree Dashers, their new running shoe, and I'm going to test them out. They're on their way, so once I get them, I'll let our broader audience.
You going to run around your basement? You got a little
basement.
You got a little track in your basement you can run around?
Exactly. That's my plan.
Andy, next time you're in Monroe, I need you to stop by the store and buy you some new shoes.
I will do it. Monroe Mall. I used to work there at the Chick-fil-A for several years. I know exactly where Cliff's location is. Highly visible. Lots of traffic right next to the Belk number 1. My dad shops there. He'll stop in and grab it, and he likes to do the pickup so he can get the extra discount and shop while he's in there. So Charlie's been itching to get out, so I'll let him know. I'll let the horse out of the stable and let him get out there and get some.
Sounds great.
All right, folks, it's a Shoe and Show. We're covering all things on footwear. You just heard one of our world-famous footwear segments with Cliff Sifford, the famous leader of Shoe Carnival, one of our board members, one of the most active people in our industry, someone who's given back, even helping host a 210 dinner just last year, which is a huge thing considering what we're facing right now. So we want to thank Cliff for his leadership, not just in these perilous times for his organization, but for all footwear workers. Folks, stay involved with FDRA. Go to FDRA.org. We're giving constant updates on reopenings across the U.S. and Canada for shoe stores. We're helping do industry-wide calls for our members every Tuesday at 2 p.m. where you can hear other people talk about what they're doing and why so that we can have a positive response across the industry. Our goal is to sell shoes, and we want to help you do that any way we can. And helping facilitate conversations around that and strengthening each other is the best way to do that through collaboration. I do believe the future is collaboration. Maybe not on the shelf when we're competing, but obviously in the back room where we're all trying to figure everything out together to make our economy stronger, our shoe economy stronger. So thanks for listening. Until next time, Shoein' is out.
Shoein' has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.